Good afternoon. Well, today's Smart Investing Briefing, this is so important. We had a jobs report come out today, and we thought we better discuss this because what's as good as people expected, when you dig into the numbers, it's not as bad as it actually appeared. We did see an increase of 75,000 jobs. The estimate was 180. That's really what scared people. But we want to kind of break that down a little bit. The private payroll is very important. We're up 90,000 jobs. Government jobs are down, what, 15,000?
15,000. I believe you said about 2/3 of them were from state
Yep.
job cuts. So that was a pretty important factor there when you look at the overall picture. Also, like you said, I mean, I'm not jumping for joy, I
Right.
guess, from this report. But again, we're still not losing jobs. We're still increasing. The tighter and tighter this labor market gets, the harder and harder it is to find good workers to come work. So I think at some point we're not going to have an average gain of 150,000 anymore. It's just not possible when that labor market gets tighter.
A couple of reasons that we saw in this why that can't happen is that, one, I think now with the tariff discussions going on and so forth, business owners are saying, as a business owner, I'm going to wait to see maybe what happens. I'll hire somebody I need to, but I'm not going to expand maybe at this point in time. I'm going to wait a couple of months. I think that hurt the job report.
I think so, and definitely the uncertainty is never good for the market, especially being an employer. Like, maybe we'll hold off a couple months, see how this trade war goes. Mm-hmm. Because again, businesses aren't thinking, oh, well, next month maybe the trade war will be finished. They're thinking, well, we got to hire for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So they can hold off a couple months without it being a really big deal. Another thing I think that hurt the report was retail. Retail was down about 7,600 jobs, and retail has been struggling. We know there's more and more store closures. That's going to, I think, weigh on jobs as we move forward as well.
And Chase, what I think the big thing here too is that there are 7 million unfilled jobs here in the United States. Why is that? Because people don't have the skills to fill them. We need to get them more skilled. So it's not like we don't have some of those jobs. There's not people going to find. I heard today on the news that there's 60,000 open positions for electricians. No one to fill them. No one has the ability to fill them.
Everyone wants to go to college.
Well,
it's not a bad thing, but still, there's demand for other jobs that you might not need to go get a college degree for and study something that you don't even utilize. So again, understanding that supply and demand of jobs could be very useful for people that are good with their hands and maybe not so great with numbers.
Yeah, and they were talking today that electricians, plumbers, I mean the good ones obviously, you can't be a loaf, they're making 75, 80, 100 grand a year. If you're smart enough to open your own business on that because the need's there, you make 200 grand a year doing that. So don't look down on that because this is where the need is. But we want to explain that's why the employment numbers aren't looking that good because the jobs are there. You need people skilled to fill them. That's important.
Well, you're still looking at an unemployment rate of about 3.6%, lowest since 1969. Again, it's hard to find people that want to work in particular jobs.
Yeah. What we also want to point out too is that we are not going into a recession. Let me describe what a recession is for you. It is 2 consecutive periods of negative GDP. And Chase, you were saying if we get a positive GDP this next quarter, impossible to get it a recession in 2019.
Yeah, because again, that'll be Q3, so that means we would have Q4. Even if Q4 was negative, well, still not a recession.
That's right.
So we've said in 2019 we're still optimistic. 2020 is still a little bit murkier. We don't like to predict too far out. We don't foresee one still in 2020. Likelihood is it still could happen though.
Yeah. So I hope that helps you out because a lot of talk going around there, all these negative and so forth. It's not as bad as you think, so I hope those numbers help you out. Be sure to tune in tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock on AM 760 KFMB, the Smart Investor Show. We'll talk more there. Actually, maybe call in the show. You have a question, we'll answer that for you. So have a great weekend, and we'll talk more next week.